100% Wild podcast is brought to you by OnX Hunt, the nation's #1 GPS hunting app. Download today in the Google Play and App Store.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast. I'm your co-host Tim Chelswick and joined by Mr. Matt Drury, and we're excited to let you know that this show is sponsored by OnX Hunt, the #1 GPS hunting app with offline features, land ownership data, and more. Download your free trial today in the Google Play and App Store.
Look at us. We have a sponsor. We're a real podcast now.
Kind of sound like a professional.
That's right. I'm excited to have those guys. You know, we've been talking to them since last, June or July or whatever it was. They were helping us a little bit with the DeerCast app and just kind of the ins and outs. And
a lot bit.
The product is really phenomenal. It really is second to none. And, Mark's been using it turkey hunting even. So there's a lot of uses, not just deer hunting, which is what, of course we were going into the fall. So we used it for food plotting and then into the deer hunting side of things. But realistically, there's almost endless possibilities inside that thing.
Well, and, for turkey hunting, I'm setting up roost waypoints on the app. So I can kind of just, because I have a general sense of the property, but it's really nice just to see it laid out in front of you.
Yeah.
That way you remember all your options, all the variables that are in play.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
So if I ever get to go hunting again, I'm going to try to use it.
You hunt?
No, I'm starting to question that, honestly.
Very sparingly.
I've been traveling a lot, but none of it gets to go to a hunting camp.
That's kind of the weird thing about being in the hunting industry is that we're typically the busiest when seasons are open, which means we have less time.
Yeah, I just did a post about that on my Instagram page not long ago. It was like,
you have an Instagram account?
Yeah, at MattDrury81. Shameless plug. But I did. I just hit that just because, we did a photo shoot a couple weeks ago for the folks at Nomad, and it's like, it really does something for you to be out in the wilderness. And the misconception of, because I get emails all the time, like, I want to be in the hunting industry. What do I got to do? I think people see like Mark and Terry and the guys in front of the camera, Lee and Tiffany or whoever it might be, and think, this is the life for me. Well, there's a very small percentage of people that get to actually experience that life. And the stuff that you see on camera is a small percentage of what they're actually doing.
They all do other things that aren't as sexy as being out in the woods.
Yeah, really is the case. So we don't actually get to go hunting much.
Yeah, but we're not complaining. Like, I feel very fortunate to be in this industry.
End of the day, you're still doing what you love.
Exactly.
It's just a different part of it, but it's helping the overall cause.
That's right.
So it's a good segue because we got a guy that's been working in the industry, maybe over 30 years, 35 years. Paul Butski from GSM Outdoors, longtime friend, a hell of a turkey hunter, and one guy that you want to share a deer or turkey camp with. Paul, how's it going today, buddy?
Good, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How long have you been in the industry, man? Not to give away your age or anything.
Oh, boy. Since the 70s.
Before,
I don't know. Count how many years that is. I don't know. Since probably 78.
Okay.
Was there
like
even
40
a
years.
turkey industry, like a hunting industry then, or was it kind of formulating at that point?
Well, the turkey hunting animal was really kind of its infancy as far as really getting going. And then it just really exploded like in the early 80s and through the 80s and 90s, and to where it is today. But, the interest was so new to so many people, and the novelty of turkey hunting and the different style of hunting from old school hunting where you just sit there and, make one or two clucks and sit there for about 3 hours and maybe fall asleep against a tree and wake up and hopefully the turkey's in front of you.
Never done that.
Well, we kind of put turkey hunting on the map with, the aggressive style of hunting, running and gunning and, making the turkey gobble and, switching calling positions a lot of different times before you finally get to the right spot. But that's when it really exploded, I would say, back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So when did you end up going to work with Dick Kirby and those folks?
In 1970, I'll put it this way. In 1979, I was working as a machinist, and we were doing turkey stuff before that. But I went with Kirby. We were on strike, and I went to help Dick with his first SHOT Show. And I never went back to work. I started with Quaker Boy in 79, 80, 81. '82, and then I went with Ben Lee for a couple of years, Ben Rogers Lee, and then went back with Quaker Boy, and then I went in business myself in '86 or '87.
It's pretty cool to the history of, just being around Mark and Dad. Obviously, my whole life I've gotten to hear them speak of these people in such a positive light for so long. And then, of course, when I started working for the guys and started going to the trade shows, getting to meet the Ernie Colandrellis, the Bob Walkers, the Paul Butskis. I mean, these guys, they made the industry, the Cuz Stricklands, the Toxie Hayes of the world. They made the industry. They literally created the industry and what it is, and they are all so fun to be around and to hear the stories, and it's a brotherhood. It really is cool.
It really is, and there's a lot of stories that you can't talk about on something like this, but there's a lot of stories that your dad and your Uncle Mark and just great guys. I mean, pioneers and what they did and what they've created and the longevity that they've been in this and to where they are today. And you guys, in Drury Outdoors, I mean, it just speaks for itself. I mean, because they're great guys, likable guys, and have a great following. And, I'm proud of them. I'm proud to call them my friends and you guys my friends. And, now you're going to get me choked up.
Yeah, I know they feel the same way about you. And, some of the best stories, like the Ernie stories, are always, they're really good.
Oh, God, you can't talk about those.
He's one of a kind, man. He really is. I saw that he retired here recently, didn't he?
He did. He retired. In fact, Ernie got me to go to my first turkey calling contest.
Really?
Back in 1978, yeah. He got me to go to the contest because, I had a little sporting goods store back in Niagara Falls, New York. And, actually, it was before that. And then he got me to go to a contest and, one thing led to another. And then it was nonstop from there. But me and Ernie traveled all over the country, turkey calling contests and just to drive from one place to another place to another place. Yeah. It was crazy.
Road warriors.
Road warriors. Yep. That's where all the stories come from.
So, resume wise, like what were some of the highlights of some of those turkey calling contests for you? Like with the ones because you were winning a lot of those turkey calling contests back in the day. So what were some of the highlights for you? If you could remember that far back.
I can remember that far back. It was like it was yesterday, Matt. Anyhow, I won my first U.S. Open in 1981 down in Blaine, Pennsylvania. I went on to win, like 6 U.S. Open championships, 3 National Turkey Federation Grand National Championships, the Masters, over several hundred contests. But, it's just something about those national championships and the U.S. Open that were pretty special. I mean, because you got a lot more circulation of guys from around the country that attended those ones. So, Pennsylvania was always hardcore, turkey callers. I mean, back in the day, even, with Rob Keck and all that too. I mean, I knew Rob real well. And there's some real pioneers in the turkey world that came from that neck of the woods. And then Missouri, Missouri was always a strong one as it kind of progressed.
Yeah. Who was your stiffest competition back in the day?
Back in the day, it'd be Denny Galvis.
Yeah.
Denny was a great caller. Dick Kirby was a great caller. Walter Parrott came on, about a year or two later. And then, your dad, your uncle.
Yeah.
I'm going to say your dad. He's not really a good turkey caller. But,
that was a mistake. You should not have
I'm
said
kidding,
that.
Terry, I'm kidding.
He ain't going to watch this. Don't worry.
Okay, good. But, there was, on any given day, there was guys that could win it at any different situation.
Sure.
Stevie Stoltz, and Stevie's still calling today. He's doing great.
Yeah.
Ray I. These guys are all the Rom brothers. Geez, there's so many I could say.
Yeah.
Kelly Cooper. These guys are all, pioneers back then, and on any given day, anybody could have won.
Let me ask you this. So back then, you guys had I'm sure there were certain calling styles. Have you seen the turkey calling contest develop into something different now than it was then? The style, the aggressiveness, just how detailed the callers have to be. Because, you look at some of the callers today, Billy Argus and, Matt Van Sice, and they're unbelievable. It's amazing.
Martin and, All the guys are, and really, but there again, it falls back to on any given day, any one of them can win. It's a turkey calling contest is subjective. Back early on, I mean, when we started a kind of an aggressive style and started putting cuts in the reeds and all that, and it sounded a lot more turkey. So you really stuck out more, to a lot of different guys. But now everybody, kind of using the same style call. And, the presentation is so similar. It's so similar. So it's all turkey. But, a contest is only as good as the judges are.
Paul, where do you fall on guys making the turkey hand puppet, as they call it?
Mark was the king of it.
I can't help it. I laugh at that one. I can't do that.
Dad has one of
I couldn't do this stuff.
Dad's got one of the best impressions of Mark when he used to be on the calling circuit. Oh my! I'm sure that Paul has seen it at a bar one night or something. But I mean, he really gets into it. And Mark used to have a mullet, so Dad'll pretend like he's flipping his mullet, and then he'll be like, he gets into it and he starts calling. It's classic. It's good.
I see the guys do it in the competitions, and I think do they? Obviously, they think it adds some realism.
Whatever it takes, Tim.
Apparently, the competitive
maybe
edge.
that's what I'm lacking in my calling ability.
I don't know about that. When I used to see it, I used to laugh. Say, "What the heck? I'd be embarrassed to do that on stage."
They're shameless.
Awesome.
But what are you gonna do?
Well, so we've got one of our DeerCasters asked a question that kind of relates to calling. He's from out in Colorado, and he gives us our question of the day.
Question of the day is brought to you by Bass Pro and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Hi, my name is Nick Dora, calling from colorful Colorado, and my question was in regards to Henned-Up gobblers. The season starts this weekend, and I've noticed that a lot of gobblers are already henned up or running with a lot more hens and doing a lot more strutting and even some breeding in some cases. And I was wondering what sort of decoy tactics and calling techniques might work best for a situation like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nick, for giving us the question.
It's interesting because my nephew, he had just the youth season, by the time this airs, it would have been a couple weeks ago, but the youth season in Missouri had happened, and my nephew was telling us, we got together at Mom and Dad's for Sunday lunch, and he was saying that they were he was describing how they were acting to Dad, and Dad's like, it sounds like they're henned up already. He's like, that can't be. And, and it's interesting this guy's saying it as well. Paul, what do you think about that question?
Well, number one, you got your work cut off for you when gobblers are henned up. But there's different tactics you can do, but there again, nothing works all the time. So in a decoy situation, if you're a decoy user, I mean, you might want to set a jake along next to that hen decoy to kind of maybe make that old gobbler that's got all the hens jealous. He'll go run that jake off, and you can get a crack at him that way. And then also, it depending on how the hens are acting with us. Well, if you see hens just kind of feeding along and really not paying no attention to the gobbler, sometimes you can get real aggressive with your calling, and you might get that hen fired. You got gobblers that show their dominance. They establish a pecking order, and the more dominant gobbler, he takes that harem of hens, runs these other gobblers off. They may go to a different area or whatnot, or just kind of pick up his strays. And then you got hens that are very dominant as well. Mm-hmm. And if you can get that dominant hen, you start cutting and carrying on, you get that dominant hen in a bunch to start, answering you. She might turn those 2 or 3 birds your way, come your way. And then gobbler, he might not be paying any attention to you, but he's following her along. Yep. And then again, also, if you got hens that aren't paying any attention to that gobbler, and you can get aggressive enough and sound real enough at that particular point to maybe get him fired up because he's still hot to go, and those hens don't want nothing to do with them. You can turn them sometimes and break them away from that flock. But there again, nothing is foolproof. Turkey hunting is stacking the odds in your favor, is what's greatly increased your chances, but nothing is 100% proof.
What would be your go-to call there? In a situation like that, henned up gobbler, and decoy maybe isn't working. So what's your go-to call?
If you can see how a turkey's reacting to the call, number one, I mean, I do a lot of soft little stuff, and if they're not paying any attention, then I'll get real aggressive. I'll do a lot of sharp cutting and carrying on, some pop, 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 get real aggressive. And there again, you get that hen fired up in there, she could turn the whole flock coming your way. Or if they're still not paying attention and that gobbler wants to come your way, he'll break off sometimes and come your way. I've had it happen in both situations where you call the flock of hens into you, the gobbler follows, or you call the gobbler away from those hens by being real aggressive.
Paul, as far as because you mentioned a Jake gobbler with a hen, or you mentioned a Jake decoy with a hen decoy, do you think that the posture of the hen decoy makes a difference, and if so, what's your go-to?
Well, I'm not a hardcore decoy user. However, I like, maybe a feeding hen or something like that, or a hen with just her head up a little bit, and then a Jake kind of like moving in on your dirt, on that gobbler's dirt, is what's going to, break him away to come. The gobblers are very territorial and very possessive at that particular point. And if you get a Jake or two that move in, and sometimes you get 4, 5, 6 Jakes, they could run that big old gobbler off too, and they'll beat them up.
You see that a lot, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, you see it a lot. But then if you got just one, maybe 2 Jakes, they're pretty submissive. And, that old gobbler sees that one Jake along with the hen over there, he's going to get jealous and, go try to run him off, and you get a crack at him that way.
I got an email probably a week or so ago through the website, and this guy was so mad at us for using decoys. And we talked about it at a couple podcasts earlier about kind of the infighting that happens amongst hunters, and it's usually over petty styles of hunting
or your hair.
Yeah. Hair. Yeah.
We got some guy last week that said you look like Captain Kirk.
Me?
Because you wore like a pea green shirt.
Nice.
And
I'll take that. Captain Kirk was the man. But no, so this guy, he went off, and I replied, and I always try. For the most part, I always try to reply to the emails, and I said something like, it's just the beauty of, if it's legal, we try to just promote hunting in general, and if it's something that helps somebody succeed, why not?
Was he saying it wasn't fair?
He said it wasn't fair chase hunting, and we shouldn't be promoting it, and we aren't hunters. Wow. Basically, if you use a decoy, you're not a hunter. And, my assumption was he was probably a little bit older, because that's usually, like, as technology or innovation changes, usually it's when I get blowback via email or on social media, it's usually an older demographic that's saying, like, that's not real hunting. Yeah. That's not, woodsmanship. That's not this or that. And, the way I looked at it, and maybe I'm dead wrong on this, but how is a decoy any different than using a turkey call? Like, you're using something to get an advantage, and to your point, Paul, you're just trying to stack the odds. Like, anything. I'll use anything that's legal, man.
That's right. Because, just because you got a decoy, turkey might come in a decoy 3 times in a row, and the next 5 times him run the other direction. So it's just, it's just a tool that may work at that particular day and may spook that bird another day. So, back when we started, in New York, you couldn't use a decoy. Decoys were illegal. Blinds were illegal. You couldn't hunt out of a blind. It was all old school stuff. And, it was years later before they eliminated. It's just like in any other type of deal. Laws change. You try to, stack the odds in your favor. You got kids involved, and you're trying to grow a sport where people have a tendency to move around. Turkeys pick up on a movement like that. Yeah. So, if you want to get kids involved, sometimes it takes having a decoy to keep his eyes off of the, somebody that's moving around a little bit, or a blind. Yeah. Because, young kids, and you want to get kids involved into the sport. And it takes that because, a kid's not going to get interested in something if he's not hearing or seeing nothing. So it takes, some different things that gets him to come in and get the kid into the sport. So,
and there's nothing cooler than watching a gobbler come in, or even Jakes or whatever, come in and beat the hell out of a decoy.
Yeah,
it's awesome. it's fun to watch that, man. It never gets old.
Well, and if this guy were hunting with me, he would see there are multiple hunts where I've been out with decoys and nothing.
I tried to tell him. I was like, man, we got, you're seeing the successful hunts, but there's plenty of hunts where it doesn't work, either. It's because his point was, you put a decoy out, you're going to kill a bird. It's a foolproof plan. I'm like, dude, it is not a foolproof plan. And he just wouldn't have anything of it. It's one of those guys that where I replied in a very respectful way, try to throw my points out there, and there wasn't no point counterpoint. It was like, point, you're an idiot, I'm gonna yell, there's no here. It's like, all right, so at that point I didn't respond anymore. It's like, all right, you're not gonna convince that guy.
Not a conversation.
Yeah. So anyhow, where all have you been so far this spring, Paul?
Just a couple states. I was in Texas. We did a hunt with GSM Outdoors down in Texas. We had a great hunt, and then I went off flew from there to Florida. We did a Wounded Warrior hunt where, it was an honor for me to be a part of. And, we took some vets out that, paid, quite a sacrifice for the position and the shape that they were in, and got to take them out and share some hunts with them. And they were, successful. So
awesome.
It was rewarding for me to give something back like that.
That's awesome. So in those two styles of bird, those are two different styles or two different breeds of birds, right? So what are there big differences in how you hunt them?
Not really. I mean, a turkey call is a turkey call no matter where you go, what part of the country. I mean, turkeys sound similar. I mean, there's you got some hens that are raspy, some hens that have a little clear yelp. It doesn't matter whether you're in Texas or Florida or New York or Missouri or Iowa. And the styles doesn't change there. It just changes in your terrain. When you're hunting Texas, it's not like you could just run up and sit up against any tree because you get stuck with something if you do that. Where Florida, you got a lot more like food plot areas and then swampy areas. So just setting up in a different terrains. But it's the style of hunting, the calling aspect of it is pretty much similar no matter where you go.
One of the things I picked up from my buddies down at Devil's Backbone down in southern Missouri is they're hunting a lot of Ozark ridges, and it's real rough country. And they call, but they also will do a lot of kind of audio cues, like flapping their hats, like wing beats, or scratching around in the leaves by their setup.
Oh, yeah.
That was just
lie down, that type of stuff.
Yeah, and they've said that they will. Once they get a bird's attention, sometimes that soft kind of non-calling sounds are really what seals the deal. And that was just a revelation to me. I didn't even consider
I
it.
noticed Dad do that quite a bit when we're timber hunting. It seems like, and usually it's like a morning thing for him.
Yeah, and it works. All that stuff works. I mean, it's just, turkeys can hear, like 5 times better than we can. So if you're calling soft, and you think your turkey can't hear it, well, there's a good chance he can hear you. Or it's just a little scratch in the leaves. They kind of hear those sounds, and they associate it with that turkey call that was over there. And it makes all the difference in the world. So, but in your dad's situation, well, he can call good. That's why he's scratching.
He's just flapping his wings because he wants to.
I love it. So, all the different tactics, what's, obviously you're a champion turkey caller. What's your go-to call or go-to cut? Is there something that you prefer?
Well, I designed actually a cutter style call back in the 1980. And what's a lot of guys use today, but then they put a little variation and put another slice off to the side. They're all similar style calls, but it's just, what sounds good in your particular mouth. And, I like a cutter style call. And that's kind of a notched out reed.
Yeah.
Half the reed cut out in the back.
Getting raspy.
Yeah, it gets raspy, and then you can sometimes I'll put another slice in it off to the side a little bit, and they give it a little more raspier sound. So
I'd love for you to take us through how to, because I can make noises with a mouth call, but it's not a turkey. I just
someone's letting the air out of a balloon.
Yeah, it's just like some guys just suck at that. What would be your advice to guys trying to learn how to call with a mouth call?
Well, practice. I mean, when you're driving in a car, because you'll drive people crazy if you don't. And just where it feels comfortable in your mouth, just blowing on a call. I mean, once somebody gets sound out of a call, then it's just a variation of switching your tongue around where you're blocking off the airflow so the air comes, over the top of the reeds to produce the sounds. But, develop yelps. That's the basic call that you want to do. And then you do some soft yelps and purrs, and then, cutting and aggressive stuff. And I like the proficiency of a diaphragm mouth call. I mean, anything will work. A box call will work. I mean, the sound quality is there, but always develop, try to practice with a diaphragm mouth call, because sometimes when you got turkeys in view and you can't pick up that box or slate call, you might want to just give that soft little seductive stuff that maybe makes the difference and gets that gobbler in those extra 10 yards. And you can't do that with something in your hand. You might be able to do it with your diaphragm mouth call. But practice. That's the thing.
So are you pressing your tongue almost kind of against the reed itself? Or what?
Yeah.
Hey,
you want me blowing a call?
He's prepared.
Yeah.
Pretty dry. You got to separate these reeds.
The mouth call is really great for guys that are bow hunting turkeys, too. Your hands are, you're steady
You're really
in the bow.
handcuffed. Yeah. I mean,
but what you're doing is you're huffing the air. You're saying the words chuck, 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 chuck. And you're just dropping your jaw. Chuck, 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 chuck. And you're saying the words chop, 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 and you put it in a turkey rhythm. Now, the best way to learn good turkey rhythm is actually get out there and listen to wild turkeys. I mean, there's some cassettes and tapes that are out there, and you want to sound realistic. You don't want to, just like with a box call. The tone quality is built into a box call.
Yeah.
All you got to do is develop that rhythm.
Yeah.
You could take a box call and go out turkey hunting tomorrow, but you just got to develop that good turkey rhythm. You want it to sound just like a hen, if possible. The more you can mimic a hen turkey, the better off you're going to be. And you don't have to be a champion turkey caller to be a good turkey hunter, because woodsmanship is the single most important factor. And that's knowing when to sit still, when to move. You kind of get a feel for when to call, when not to call. But you do want to be proficient with your calling. So practice as much as you can.
Is it possible to get a gobbler yelp out of a mouth call, Paul?
Yeah, you just kind of elongate the yelp a little bit more. You're just kind of dropping your jaw a little bit more instead of a chop, 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 chop. It's more of a chop, chop. It's just a more elongated yelp.
Sure.
But now I've heard some old gobblers that sound a little higher pitch than some old hens out there too. So it's more of a rhythm type aspect. Gobblers will have a tendency to yelp maybe 2 or 3 times at the most with a slower, drawn out yelp.
Gotcha.
Do you find benefit in actually gobbling? Sometimes you see guys do that, and I never understood. I mean, it does have its advantage. Just another tool in your box. I mean, that you carry with you, and it's just like a turkey call in your vest. And it could make the difference on certain situations, but if it's not proficient enough, sometimes you're going to send the gobbler the other direction. So
the best time to use a gobbler call is when
it'd be kind of a last resort to gobble at a turkey.
Yeah.
Or when
because
your buddy's
unless you
falling
can do it
asleep.
really good or something.
When your buddy's falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite locator call?
Owl hooting.
Yeah.
I love the owl hoot.
How's your owl
Because
hoot?
you could bring it up from your diaphragm and just let it out. Because it's more of a shock response that makes that turkey gobble. Loud sound. I mean, you hear people say, "Oh, heck, I slammed my car door in a turkey gobble." Well, yeah, that works, but you can't carry a car door in the woods with you. So a locator call like that, or coyote howl and stuff like that. It's just that high pitched sound, that higher and louder sound that carries out there, that kind of kicks that old gobbler in the ribs and makes them gobble.
Sure. What's the closest you've roosted a bird in the morning and not had them bust on you?
Well, it's gotten light and have turkeys right up above you that you didn't know were there. That's happened many a times to me.
Nice.
And you get in there early enough where it's kind of dark, and because you knew you had a turkey maybe roosted about 100 yards or 125 yards away, and then as it gets all of a sudden just turkey gobbles, he's in a tree above you. I mean, that's happened a number of different times.
So cool.
It's cool, but it's a hell to try to kill them.
Yeah,
they don't just drop right out of the tree.
Actually, we did a hunt. I don't know. It's been years ago at your dad's place, Matt. Where we got set up in there, and when it got light, your dad was filming, and Mark was filming, and your dad was there, and a turkey gobbled, and he was in gun range. I mean, he was in the tree right up. We didn't know he was there, and waited. And he pitched down. He flew down the hill, and I called him back up the hill, and he come up, but that turkey was like within 30 yards of us, and we didn't know he was there.
Nice. Do you find it hard to call turkeys uphill? I've heard that before, where it's just they hardly will come back up a hill.
No, they'll come up a hill more so than come down a hill.
Maybe
You're
that's
better
what
off
it is.
being above them and let them come up to you than if you're below them and try to call them down the hill.
Gotcha. So why is that?
It's the vantage point. Just like yourself, if you're up on a ridge and you're scanning down there, you can scan that hillside a lot better from up above. Same thing with a turkey. It's a vantage point. If he's down below you, you know what I mean? He's got to walk up to go to see what's there, just like you would have to. But if he was above you, looking down, he don't see anything that resembles a hen down there. He's going to be more reluctant to come down that hill.
Now I feel dumb. That seemed obvious. Like I said, they don't let me hunt. They never let me out of the studio, man.
Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I always feel like the best shows are the ones where we forget that we're doing a show and we're just getting information and we're visiting. And I feel like we could go with Paul for another couple hours, just answering our own personal questions.
Yeah. Paul's a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, he's one of the best out there, and when you want to talk turkey, he's a go-to source.
Well, he kind of teased the wildlife word of the week last week.
Yeah.
And this week's word
is
also turkey related.
All right.
Caruncles.
You ever hear that one?
I've heard that. Yeah.
It's not when you're
like the knobs on their. Kind of the knobs that are on their head.
All the stuff that makes turkeys look ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly.
This turkeys, I think, are a great example of how biased anti-hunters are, because no one gives a rip about people shooting turkeys in the face, but you kill a deer and it's all like, they're soft.
You're right.
Yeah. It's a pet.
Right. They don't care about ugly turkeys. But, yeah, the caruncles are, they include the snood, which is the long drooping part that we talked about last week, and then the wattle, which are the kind of bulbous, fleshy growths on the lower side of their neck. The caruncles are used to communicate mating intent and turkey mood.
By color?
Coloration, yeah.
What are they there for?
They signal mating intent and mood. They change color.
So the white to red to beet red to blue.
Then when you kill them, they don't feel so good. They just all go white on you.
Yeah. A turkey may be ugly, but yet it's interesting to see, like, they're beautiful. It's a weird dynamic because they're beautiful and they're freaking ugly. Once you go up to it and you see it close, you're like, God dang,
what was God
beady,
thinking?
little-eyed.
Well, so my daughter, when she saw this gobbler walk through this gap in the cedars, it was all slicked down. It was walking. He hit the field, and we were kind of peeking out the rear blind window, and she saw him strut up. She's like, I want to kill that one. She thought it was a completely different bird.
Yeah.
Because they look like two different animals when they strut up like that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's amazing. They're amazing critters.
So
that's called a pulmonic puff.
What is it?
A pulmonic puff when they strut.
You just gave us a new word, a wildlife word of the day.
Nice job.
We've never had anybody contribute, myself included. So Paul, we won't keep you much longer, but through all the years, is there a hunt or a camp or a moment, something that stood out above all the rest, and I'm sure it's close to thousands of hunts you've been on at this point?
I've been on so many hunts, and every hunt you go on, you always say, God, that was unbelievable. It was like the best hunt. And just being able to share it with really close friends and stuff like that, or family, to me, it kind of means the most. And then I, was on that hunt last week in Florida where I called this 26-year-old Marine vet, who was in Afghanistan and, had a bad situation there, calling him in a turkey and seeing how excited he got. That was so special. I mean, I hunted with Roy Rogers, the old cowboy. I called him in a turkey back in Texas years ago. But there's, it's just, I could think of thousands of them.
Yeah.
Really, just every one. And that's what makes turkey hunting such a disease to me. I mean, it's like such a passion. I mean, because I love it so much, and I love to, the most memorable hunts are the ones that you share with somebody that's with you. Some of the ones when you're by yourself, you wish everybody was with you, but the ones that you could share with somebody else, those are really memorable hunts. I mean, they memories last a lifetime. I could go back and somebody can mention, you remember when we were in, Texas, or we were in Oklahoma, and I can remember it just like it would happen yesterday, because that's how much it sticks in your mind. Some of these hunts.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. One of these days we're gonna share a camp together. Maybe it's gonna be soon. Hopefully it'll be soon.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark.
Tell your wife, sorry, I will go out next weekend for a birthday party.
Yeah, I'll let you talk to her.
I will.
Paul Butski would like to speak with you.
Her birthday's falling on a Friday. Like, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah,
get
but there's
out
a
much.
Friday the following weekend. There's a Friday the following
More
weekend.
Fridays coming. Yeah, tell her that.
Good point. She should understand. I've only been gone. I was in Green Bay. I was in Tucson. I will be in Springfield. All in like 2 weeks.
I bet she loves you for
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure she'll be totally cool with me. Say, for your birthday, I'm on a turkey hunt. You just do you. We'll catch up.
You work out childcare, and she might be okay with it. But
Maybe.
otherwise-
Yeah. Actually, she may not want to see my butt. She might not
That's
want
what I'm
anything to
saying.
do with me.
Yeah.
They've gone that much.
Well, Paul, thanks so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate Nick from Colorful, Colorado, calling in and leaving us a great question for us to beat around. And if you're not on DeerCast, please hop on. There's tons of great content being posted daily, and there's also the farm giveaway. It's the best place to follow.
That little thing we're calling the farm giveaway, giving away 60 acres in Sullivan County, Missouri. It's North Missouri. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and I guarantee you can kill a turkey on that farm.
Putnam County.
Putnam County. That's
Yep.
right. Putnam County.
Putnam
Guarantee you can kill a turkey on it.
And they were kind of kicking around the idea of maybe stocking the pond. There's ponds on it, and maybe
Yeah.
stock, so that may or may not happen. But I mean, we just the deal keeps getting better and better.
This month we're giving away a RTP Groundbreaker 3 from the guys over here in actually Fenton, Missouri. They're not far from here. We went over to their place. It's pretty awesome. They got all kinds of stuff. The Genesis drill. So cool. So, that's like a $7,500 implement we're giving away here in the month of April. So you got to enter one time.
Yeah,
It takes 3 minutes.
More great stuff coming every month.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious who's going to win that custom PSE bow in August.
Well, not only that, but the guys at GSM Outdoors, they're doing a muddy pinhouse blind
That's
in the stand.
incredible.
That's awesome. That's really good.
You're going to be living large, whoever wins that this
Yeah.
coming year.
Yeah.
Hunting
So-
in comfort.
It doesn't get much better, and all you got to do is sign up in the app, get the app, sign up in there.
Simple.
It's simple.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna beat that dead horse. Just sign up for the farm. Come on, guys.
It just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's shut it down.
I don't know. Let's keep talking about this farm.
Well, thanks for the folks at Onyx Hunt for helping us out and sponsoring the show. We appreciate that.
And we promise we won't let Paul go hunt this farm that we're giving away because he'd kill all the
Wipe 'em
turkey.
out.
He'd bring in
No,
guests.
no.
Him and Mark and Terry, they'd come in there and they'd have their fun. And, they're just natural born killers.
Clear cut the farm for turkeys.
We promise
All
we're not
right.
letting anybody hunt it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Paul. Appreciate you joining us, man. Good luck this spring.
Thanks, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Peace.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by Onyx Hunt, the nation's #1 GPS hunting app.